Hazbin Hotel Season 1 has reached its season finale, and for the most part, I think it really stuck the landing, delivering a satisfying conclusion for the main Season 1 throughline, and of course ending on some very tantalizing teases for what's to come. So, let's talk Charlie, Vaggie, Alastor, Lucifer, Lilith, Adam, Pentious. Oh my god, so much happened, let's go. But first, today's video is brought to you by my wonderful patrons. If you're a fan of the channel and want to support me directly, the best way to do that is Patreon, and the list of perks is growing. Right now we've got 6 exclusive BoJack audio commentaries with a new release every week, an 11-minute video about my visit to Casa Bonita, and about 20 minutes of analysis on animated favorites like Shrek, Finding Nemo, Monsters Inc., and more for a massive video that won't be released for another couple months. Tiers start as low as $1, and today I want to specifically shout out our top tier patron, Oddish. Thank you so much, Oddish. I could not do this without the support of viewers like you. Patreon is the best way to support me directly, and I can't thank you enough for watching. Hazbin's final episodes of the season are titled Hello Rosie and The Show Must Go On, both solid episodes, though I did feel a bit like Hello Rosie was kind of a little detour from the finale destination, but regardless, it had some really great songs and some pretty key character development that made it feel pretty worth it. But the craziest development is Alastor's deal with Charlie, which honestly leaves so many possibilities and gives us some significant insight into Alastor's motivations. In the pilot, we see Alastor attempt to make a deal with Charlie, only for her to refuse. This time, she's truly at the end of her rope and feels she has no other choice. But there's this twist. While Charlie expected Alastor wanted her soul, that wasn't actually the case.
Your soul? Heavens, no! All I need from you is one itty-bitty favor.
Obviously, it seems like a win for Charlie, not having to give up her soul, but the vague agreement that she'll have to do Alastor a favor in the future is going to be a big deal. Pun not intended. After watching these final 2 episodes, I do think that Alastor does actually seem well-intentioned in regards to helping the hotel, maybe more so than ever, but he also clearly has his own goals and motivations outside of the hotel. The hints across the season have been too strong not to imply otherwise, and being owed a favor from the Princess of Hell? We'll talk theories towards the end of the video, but this is a big deal. The other major aspect of this episode is the rift between Charlie and Vaggie after it's revealed that Vaggie was an exorcist. I do think the process Charlie goes through and decisions she makes here make perfect sense for her character, but I also sort of wish this storyline had played out a bit longer. There's just a ton of opportunity for drama and turmoil with that trust being broken, but obviously it would have been out of character for Charlie not to forgive Vaggie. And Charlie's entire subplot of this episode, while on its face seemed to be about recruiting an army to help fight off the exorcists, was actually mostly about her internal process in forgiving Vaggie.
Oh no, that's a horrible thing to think. Do I think that? Yes. No. Kinda?
Her conversation here with Rosie is definitely a highlight, and I was glad to see Charlie vocally struggling with exactly what I expected to be the biggest hang-up, that Vaggie took part in the exact thing they're trying to stop. It's a huge lie to keep, but also understandable why she would be afraid to reveal that to Charlie. But realizing that she loves Vaggie and that her entire thing is redemption, obviously it's great to see Charlie forgive Vaggie. And it would have been weird if she hadn't, but I do still hope that this at least plays somewhat of a role if there's any turmoil in the relationship down the line. It wraps the first season up in a pretty nice bow, but long term, I want it to play a little bit bigger of a part. But it's actually great to see Charlie actually succeed in the same kind of inspirational recruitment she failed at in the pilot. It brings her journey full circle in a really nice way. Even though I feel like it would have been nice to see a little bit more of the cannibals' involvement in the final battle, having her actually recruit these people to help worked really well. Vaggie's journey to gain information from Carmilla was also pretty cool narratively. While I had previously expressed a bit of concern that they revealed who killed the angel exorcist so quickly, they basically made the real mystery, how did she do that? And though I wish that mystery had maybe been seeded a bit earlier, it was a pretty cool and satisfying solution to help aid in the final battle. I also appreciate the way this brought Vaggie and Carmilla together after they were both featured in the same musical number in episode 3, despite not being connected narratively quite yet. Pretty cool way to seed the fact that that pair would play an important role together down the line. Vaggie and Charlie's reunion at the end of the episode is undeniably effective as well.
I got you a souvenir from Cannibal Town.
Oh, Charlie.
But the real meat comes in the season finale, which is not only a pretty damn satisfying climax to the season-long story, but gives so many tantalizing little details for us to endlessly speculate about, or at least to speculate about until season 2. The episode obviously has a ton of great moments, but I think my favorite sequence is just this little cocktail party hangout the evening before the exorcism. I think this really exemplifies what I love most about this show. Though it is this bombastic, vulgar musical that is literally set in hell, it shines in its character-first moments. Seeing these characters take comfort in each other's company before they potentially cease to exist, it really hits. As does the More Than Anything reprise, this time between Charlie and Vaggie. This is only the first 5 minutes of the episode, but it goes a long way to set the stage for what the characters stand to lose, and what they've gained already. I think for the most part, the final battle met the hype. I maybe wish we saw a bit more from the cannibals, like I said earlier, but all of the main characters got their big moments. In particular, Alastor vs. Adam was such a satisfying showdown. Alastor's powers are visually my favorite in the series, easily, and we really get to see him flex in this battle. Even though it did kind of feel like he only lost this battle so we could get the more satisfying conclusion for Adam later. Though, I'm very curious about this brief moment where the radio modulation disappears from Alastor's voice.
What just happened?
It seems it has something to do with his staff and microphone breaking, but his voice also returns shortly after. I wonder if there's a deeper meaning here, something that alludes to the source of his power and or how Alastor could be stopped, maybe? Honestly though, the conclusions all around really work in this episode. Vaggie besting Lute, the very exorcist that took her eye and banished her to hell, and beyond that, showing how Charlie and the hotel have influenced Vaggie. She could have easily just finished her off, but death and destruction was the old Vaggie. She chose mercy. Pentious' sacrifice, though a bit quick and sort of anticlimactic, perfectly motivates Charlie to go full demon badass and take on Adam himself. I loved seeing her stand up for her friends and her beliefs in a way that is so outside of her comfort zone, really going as far as she can to protect the ones she loves. Even Lucifer, who is largely absent from the season, mostly because his whole thing is that he's absent from Charlie's life, shows up in the final moments to fight Adam and actually be there for his daughter. To be a good dad, damn it. Everyone grows! And I love that they waited until the absolute final moment to show Lucifer's full range of abilities, a real Satan ex machina, and he comes to later actively help rebuild the hotel as well, truly all in on his daughter and her dreams. I'm actually planning a full Lucifer character analysis to drop next week, so keep an eye out for that one. I even love the fact that this battle led to the actual destruction of the hotel itself. Now this new, bigger, more beautiful version of the hotel was actually crafted by the people who believe in it. It's no longer just an old building that these weirdo demons hang out in, it's an actual monument to the idea behind the hotel. If the hotel's mission wasn't working as intended, then this building would not exist. But let's talk about some of the biggest reveals at the end of the season here. Probably the biggest is the reveal that fundamentally, Charlie's entire plan for redemption with Hazbin seems to certifiably work. After Pentious sacrificed himself for his friends and was killed by Adam, he appeared in heaven as an angel. Pentious was a sinner who originally died in the late 1800s, meaning his death in hell actually gave him an entirely second chance to be judged, and this time he made the cut. Granted, one of the big mysteries of the show is that there are seemingly no specific guidelines for what does and doesn't get you into heaven, so that remains a huge question. But this really does change everything and also raises a lot of questions about death in the afterlife, so to speak. Because we also know that the exorcists have been killing demons to cut down the population of hell. But does that mean each of those people who was killed for a second time in hell was rejudged? Obviously they didn't appear back in hell, or else the whole extermination would have no point at all. So what happens to the souls of those who get killed by the exorcists? Are their souls going somewhere else? Are they going to purgatory? Do they truly just get one more chance to be judged, and if they don't make it to heaven, they're gone forever? There's a lot of questions there, like I said, but I think we also might get to see the flip side of this entire revelation, because obviously the other huge development was that Adam was killed. I was kind of surprised they did this. I didn't really anticipate that Adam would just sort of be the season 1 villain, but it definitely helps add some closure to the season 1 story arc, while still leaving a ton of possibilities moving forward, especially because I expect that as Pentious was rejudged and made it to heaven, Adam will likely be rejudged and appear in hell as a demon. He was truly an awful, evil piece of shit. He kind of represented everything that should send you straight to hell. And with episode 6 sort of revolving around the entire question of rejudgment and redemption, I think this would be a super fitting twist. And there's so much you can do with Adam in hell. You can keep him in an antagonistic role and see him try to garner power and rise the ranks of hell, with a particularly big chip on his shoulder re Charlie, Lucifer, and Hazbin, or they could also try to pull the ultimate redemption and bring him into the hotel so he can earn his way back to heaven. I'm not convinced Adam could ever truly change his ways, but also, wouldn't that be the ultimate success story for the hotel? An angel rejudged and sent to hell, only to be redeemed again and sent back to heaven? There's also the huge questions in regards to Alastor, especially with his verse in the last musical sequence, once again reiterating that he is seeking freedom and that he's got some kind of ball and chain attached to him, that he's made a deal that he wants to undo. As he says, when he figures out how to unclip his wings,
Guess who will be pulling all the strings?
this to me says that a huge part of Alastor's motivation really is control and power. He wants to be the one pulling all the strings, and as his history has explicitly stated, he's always sought powerful overlords and either taken their voices or toppled them, or both. He seems to have the loftiest goals of anyone in the show, except maybe Charlie, and obviously those goals are very different in nature. Speaking of Charlie, I really love how far she's come this season. She always had her singular goal in mind, and despite facing unfathomable odds and essentially being shot down every step of the way in countless different ways, she still never gave up. But what I love most about Charlie is that she seems to be this perfect amalgamation of her parents, at least as far as we can see. Not to boil her motivations down to mommy and daddy issues, but they do seem to be a perfect combination of things that would potentially be done to please or impress or earn her parents' love and respect. Her mother is known for her voice and how that voice empowered demonkind. She used her voice to inspire the citizens of hell, though if that was a good thing obviously remains to be seen. We have a lot to learn about Lilith. Lucifer is somebody who had these massive, lofty goals and ideas in heaven and was cast aside, judged, and sent to hell, becoming the first fallen angel for daring to dream bigger. And here we have Charlie, who is also using her voice to sing and inspire demonkind like her mother, but this time in an attempt to help them gain redemption, to allow them another chance, something I expect her father would die for. It does sort of seem like appealing to her parents is a major part of Charlie's motivation, if even subconsciously. And I guess that leads us to Lilith, the huge final tease for the finale. Lilith is seemingly just kicking it on a beach in heaven of all places. More evidence that there are ways to get to heaven from hell, though this seems to be far more self-serving than redemptive.
Adam is dead. Your deal is done, and I'm in charge now.
Plot twist, Lilith abandoned hell to veg out on the beaches of heaven by making some kind of deal with Adam himself, her original husband. And now Lute is demanding she go down to stop Charlie from fundamentally changing the heaven and hell system, which means a few big things. One, the moment Lilith bailed on Lucifer, she hit up her ex, which is gonna cause drama. Two, she likely provided some kind of important intel or abilities to Adam in exchange for her asylum in heaven. What that is remains to be seen, but it seems like she's betrayed hell in some way. And three, Lilith is for sure going to be a main character in season 2, right? I expect her appearance in hell and at the Hazbin Hotel will be season 2's big inciting incident. And man, I could see that providing some wildly interesting and dramatic scenarios. Lilith potentially trying to sabotage the hotel from the inside, Vaggie having to meet her in-law, Lucifer coming face to face with Lilith after 7 years, Charlie coming to terms with Lilith's abandonment. There are so many places that story can go, and obviously the Hazbin hell of a streets are dying to know what the fuck is up with Lilith, so I cannot wait for season 2. But honestly, I was really impressed with Hazbin Hotel season 1. I thought it started a little shaky, but by the back half of the season, it really found its stride. I still wish the season had more episodes. I think 12 or 13 would have given us more time to really live in and appreciate the world building, but the core of the story over these 8 episodes works really well. They honestly followed through on just about every major character's journey in a satisfying way. The last 2 episodes managed to bring so many things full circle, all while leaving tons of mysteries and questions and teases on the table for the future. You've got Adam's death, Sir Pentious' redemption, Lilith's reappearance, Emily's disillusionment with Heaven's foundations, Alastor's deal with Charlie, and whatever deal he made with whoever has him on their leash. And on top of all of that, the show is an absolute certified success. It had the largest global debut for an animated series in Prime's history, and Prime has huge IPs. The fact that they beat out Vox Machina, which has the massive Critical Role fanbase space behind it, that's a really big deal. The show has obviously already been renewed for season 2, but I think it's pretty reasonable to expect the show to continue well beyond. I expect they'll make the show as long as Viv needs to tell the story. So that's good news for fans of Hazbin Hotel, and bad news for folks who are super weird about Hazbin Hotel on Twitter. I've got plans for a Lucifer video next week, but I likely will hold off on much other Hazbin coverage until season 2, but who knows, we'll see if I'm inspired at some point. I certainly need to get more invested in Hell of a Boss and possibly cover that. As many of your comments have pointed out, there's a ton of lore in that show that I should be applying to my Hazbin analysis. Sometimes it feels like I need a PhD to cover the show. Y'all are just so well versed in every nook and cranny, but expect me to get back to my usual show coverage soon. But what did you think of Hazbin Hotel's finale and season 1 as a whole? Did it stick the landing? Are you excited for season 2? What is up with Lilith and Alastor and Adam and Pentious? And okay, I'll stop. Stay tuned for that Lucifer video, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.
I stay mellow watching Johnny two cellos. He talks cartoons, he's a really cool fellow. He keeps you posted on adult cartoons. If that's what you're into, then grab a spoon and a very big bowl of your favorite cereal. Feels like Saturday morning cartoon material. Johnny two cellos, watch him on YouTube. Now enjoy this groove and bust a move.